What's going on, YouTube? It's been a little while. I've been a little busy at work, but I wanted to make another video for you, kind of a 2-month review video. I think it's time. As I go to work this morning, I'm looking down at about 2,200 miles on the odometer, so I think that I have a pretty good sense of this car now after a couple thousand miles. A good mix between highway driving, city driving, and mountain driving in the back roads of Colorado. So one of the first things that I've noticed about this car compared to any other that I've ever driven is it is an attention magnet. And talking to some other owners of the WRX and the STI, there's no doubt that it's the wing that does it, honestly. I talk to WRX owners and I say, do you get this attention from other cars, whether it's muscle cars, other WRXs, Evos, little Scions that are trying their very best? Do you guys get the same attention that I do? And they go, no. Like, no one ever revs at me. They don't come up and say anything at a stoplight. You know, they're not flying by me. We don't get that attention. So again, the only difference there is it's the wing. So definitely the wing attracts attention. So you're gonna have people coming up to you, talking to you at stoplights, trying to race you on the highway, in the city, in rush hour, all that. So definitely an attention magnet with the wing on the back for this STI. Next, one of the questions I get a lot is the ride too harsh? Does it jar you too much? Is it too much for you? Because I do daily drive my car. And the answer is no, it's not at all. And now granted, keep in mind, I'm coming from a car with 250,000 miles that I can't even remember the last time I had any suspension components changed out on. So the suspension was pretty much gone on my old car. So coming to this car and having a suspension, it was quite the difference. But to me, is the ride too rough? Not at all. Do you feel every bump in the road? Absolutely, you do. It's stiff, it's planted, you can feel the road. But for me, daily driving it, as of right now, which is about 14 miles round trip every day in city driving here in Colorado, which is a lot of potholes. Is it too much? Not at all. Totally livable, and even my better half, she says, it's no problem for her at all. She actually prefers taking this car over her car, which is much more pillowy than this thing when it comes to the ride. So she prefers the STI. So again, if you're worried about it being too harsh, I don't think that's really a concern, honestly. Because if you bought this car, you want to feel the road. But don't get me wrong, it's not too rough. Up next, we're going to talk about gas mileage. That's another question I've gotten quite a bit. How's your gas mileage doing? Of course, it is a difference coming from my Honda going to this thing. I honestly cannot wait for the FA series motor that will debut in this car in the coming years with direct injection, better fuel mileage that you WRX owners are getting right now. I look forward to that. But is it horrid? No. It's all about staying out of the boost and not revving it up too high. I said, you know, going in city driving and shifting around. So it's all in how you drive. Now again, when I'm trying to conserve fuel, when I'm not getting crazy, I can get this car probably to average about 23.5 to 24 miles per gallon. If I go in the mountains, and that's the great thing about Colorado, you get up there in the mountains and all of a sudden you're doing your drive and you want to come back down, I can just pop it in neutral most of the time and coast and get this car averaging 40 to 50 miles per gallon. So again, if you can do some coasting, it's going to help you. But again, I'm averaging 23, 24 when I'm really trying to get the gas mileage out of it. At other times when I'm driving more normally, a few spirited runs here and there, I'm probably averaging right around 20 to 20 and a half miles per gallon. And again, I primarily drive in the city and not so much highway driving. So those are the things that I'm finding right there. I know some of you have said, come on, let's see you open that thing up on the video. We're not going to have that today because as I look at my temp gauge here in Colorado, the temperature is 95 degrees. So it's a warm one out here, and I'm not going to push in the car in this video because it's warm. So stay tuned. Another common question that I've been getting on my channel has been from people saying, you know, have you had any problems? Have you had any mishaps? Anything go wrong? The 2015 plus models have kind of been notorious so far for having a clutch issue where you get this popping and snapping sound with your clutch. I have not had that again at just over 2,000 miles. Of course, the dreaded ring lens. People want to always ask about that. Have you had an issue with that? No, not at all. And I said the car has ran beautifully for the first 2,000 miles. Again, it's just kind of getting broken in, but not one issue yet. Not my trunk chipping at the corner in terms of paint, not a clutch issue. I said my transmission is finally just kind of getting worn in, where it feels nice and smooth now, as the clutch has been pretty grabby these first few thousand miles. But all these issues that people talk about, honestly, I think a lot of it is overblown. Does it exist? Yes. Is there some design flaws in this car? Yes, with the EJ motor, unequal link headers, just to mention one thing. But is it a just notorious problem across the board with like 20, 30% of cars being affected? No. I think it comes down to a couple things. People buy this car to drive this car. That's number one. So again, these cars get used, abused, and put away wet most times. And people just beat the living crap out of them. So I said I'm not sure why people are surprised that the STI has more failures than, say, your average passenger car. People beat these cars up. Now, myself, I do it occasionally, here and there. I have my fun. That's why I bought the car. But I'm also letting it cool down, letting it warm up properly, all those kind of things that a lot of people sometimes don't even consider. You know, are you letting your car get up to temp for a good 5 to 10 minutes before you stomp on your car and get into boost? Are you letting your turbo cool down after you have some spirited driving? Even I said, if you're just doing a few pulls here and there, you get to where you're going, do you sit in the car for up to a minute to let your turbo cool down? You should be. And again, a lot of people don't do those things. So again, it's all about maintenance. Keep up on those oil changes. Make sure you're using the proper oil. Make sure you take care of your car the best you can while still having fun with it. And I really don't think this car is going to give you much trouble, because there's plenty of people out there online that will tell you, I've had this car for 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, and I've never had a problem. Now, granted, these people are stock or almost stock. And I said, when you get into the tuning game, whether you're going to get an access port, put a tune on it, you know, go stage 1, go stage 2, that's where things get tricky, because again, you're going to pay to play, and you're putting more wear and tear on your engine, on your suspension. You're going to be, you know, kind of wanting to drive it harder because you have more power, so you're going to beat up on it a bit more probably. All those things contribute to, again, early failures of different parts. And I said, more headache, more cost out of your pocket. But again, so far in this car, not a problem. The next thing we can talk about on this car that some people have asked, how about the white paint? How is that holding up? How is that treating you? I will say, I was hoping it would be a little bit easier in terms of, you know, coming from a black car going to a white car. But honestly, I am having some troubles on the lower panels of the car down below, which is going to get the dirtiest, where I'm having these black streaks come up near the ground effects part of the car. I'm having, I said, just a lot of buildup, especially on the back rear bumper, just below the trunk. A lot of soot and carbon, which I assume is coming from the exhaust, especially when I get on the engine a little bit. So I'm having some troubles with just keeping certain parts of the car clean. They're kind of a pain, not too bad, but overall, I said, still in love with the crystal white pearl. It's a sexy color. When you see it in the sun and you get that depth in the color and see that metallic flake, it lets you know you made the right choice. And the last thing I want to talk about today, as I'm getting close to work, is the transmission. I have yet to drive a WRX yet from 2015 plus models, but coming to this gearbox, it's an absolute dream. Now, I don't have any shifter bushings, anything like that, just a short throw from Subaru. And I said it's fantastic, honestly. Like, it's a dream to drive. It's easy to drive. Again, I came into this car not ever having regularly driven a manual transmission car. I've learned how when I was 16 years old, but I never owned a manual transmission car. So coming into this thing, it actually really was quite easy to learn. And I said, I mean, it's a joy to drive with this transmission. Honestly, it really is. I don't know what else to say about it other than it's great. It's notchy, it's short with the short throw on it. It feels like when you pop it into gear, it feels solid. You feel like, yes, that's the gear. It's not sloppy. You're not like, well, am I in the gear, am I not? You're not going to have any of that. So I've really come to enjoy this gearbox. It really is fantastic. And I said, from reading other stuff online, watching other YouTube videos out there, people say it's much better than the transmission that comes in the WRX. And I said, I can believe it, because it really is a joy to drive. It can stand up to a lot of abuse from all the research I've done. It's a great gearbox. It really makes this thing a joy to drive. What about the boost on this car? And that's where the fun factor comes in with this vehicle, because the WRX, the boost comes on so early, it's such a smooth power delivery that you would never, I said, get that seat thrown back feel going on to you. And so this car is way different in terms of boost delivery over the WRX. And those out there that own these cars know this. This car is going to push you back in the seat once you get to 4,000 RPMs. I mean, that's about what it takes. It starts coming alive just after 3. By 4, you're fully planted in the seat. And that's the fun factor of the STI. And I sure hope they don't lose that when they go to the new FA motor and change around the turbos. I honestly think that they really should keep that. I like that upper boost factor to this car. It gives it that fun factor. The bad part about it is it takes a lot to get into the power band of this car. You have to be revving pretty high. So I said, when you're out cruising around town, if you really want to give this thing power, you really got to give it up, high, above 4,000. However, this thing is geared so short, it's made to keep you in that power band. It makes a little bit more shifting going to and from work, but overall, I said it's well worth it. Short gearing, it keeps you high in that power band, especially 1, 2, and 3. And I said, 4,000 RPMs comes on, boom, you're in the seat. And I said, it definitely makes a lot of fun for this car. All right, I'm just about at work, folks. If you have any other videos that you want me to make for you about the car in particular, my opinions about different things with the car, if you're out there shopping for one of these things, considering it, if you have one, want to know my thoughts, that kind of thing, let me know down in the comments below. I will definitely try to make your video as fast as I possibly can. I said I'm really busy with work right now this time of year, but I'm definitely trying to get some more videos done. So let me know what you think. Leave comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.